Okay, real quick. Have you ever had a moment, and I mean a very specific kind of moment, where you discovered something genuinely important, told everyone around you about it, and the response you got was nothing? Like, not even pushback. Not "you're wrong" or "that's not true." Just a shrug. Maybe someone said, "Okay, but have you seen this TikTok?" and moved on. I had that experience once when I found out my apartment building's fire exit was blocked by a vending machine. I told 3 people. One of them said, "That's interesting," and went back to their phone. Another said, "I mean, it's probably fine." And the third one said, and I'm quoting, "Okay, but also, do you want pizza?" We did not order pizza. We did not move the vending machine. I just lived there for 2 more years, hoping for the best. And I think about that all the time now, because there's a movie, a very loud, very uncomfortable, very brilliant movie, that is basically that story. Except instead of a vending machine and a fire exit, it's a comet, the size of Mount Everest, headed directly at Earth. The movie is Don't Look Up, and it made me laugh. And then it made me uncomfortable. And then it made me laugh, because I was so uncomfortable. Welcome to Digirant, where today we are talking about the most uncomfortable comedy ever made. A film that was written as satire and accidentally became a documentary. A movie so on the nose that half the audience laughed and the other half had a quiet panic attack in a diner parking lot at 11 p.m. Let's get into it. So, Don't Look Up. Adam McKay. Netflix. You've probably heard of it. The premise is stupidly simple. 2 astronomers discover a comet the size of Mount Everest is on a direct collision course with Earth. It will hit in 6 months and 14 days. Every living thing dies. The end. No notes. The astronomers are Dr. Randall Mindy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, a kind, slightly neurotic Michigan State professor who looks like he's never once in his life been comfortable at a party, which is, honestly, extremely relatable. And then there's Kate Dibiasky, Jennifer Lawrence, his PhD student, who is arguably the most normal person in the entire film, and is therefore treated like she's insane for the entire runtime. So they discover this comet. They do the math. They check the math. They check it again. They get a colleague to check it. Checks out every time. Comet. Big. Earth. Doomed. Simple. And here's where the movie starts doing what it does best. It turns the volume up on every single annoying thing about modern society and just leaves it there. Lets you sit in it. Like a dentist who finishes drilling and then just walks out of the room. They go to the White House. They wait in a lobby for hours. They finally get into the Oval Office, where President Janie Orlean, Meryl Streep, absolutely feral energy, clearly having the time of her life, is eating a snack and half listening. Her chief of staff / son, Jason, Jonah Hill, playing a man with the emotional intelligence of a golden retriever, who was never once told no, interrupts the briefing 3 times. To talk about polling numbers, they're told, sit tight and assess. Basically, to consider it. Consider it. The comet is not considering you. The comet has already committed. The comet did not check the polls before plotting its trajectory. So they go to the media. They get booked on the Daily Rip, a morning talk show that is so painfully, accurately awful that watching it genuinely makes your eye twitch. The hosts are doing that thing where they're friendly in a way that's actually deeply aggressive, and they keep trying to end the segment on a high note because they don't want to bum out the audience. Between the yogurt commercial and the celebrity chef segment, Kate loses it on live television, fully breaks, just starts screaming, "We're all going to die," into the camera. And the internet, naturally, turns her into a meme. This is the moment the movie reveals its hand. Because Kate is not wrong. Kate is, in fact, the only person in the room who is behaving in a proportionate and rational way, given the information she has. And she gets absolutely destroyed for it. Meanwhile, Randall, who stays calmer, who speaks in measured tones, who is conventionally attractive in a rumpled professor kind of way, becomes admired. Women tweet about his eyes. He gets a magazine cover. He starts doing press without Kate. Same information, same comet, completely different reception, because how you say the thing matters more than what the thing is. Eventually, the government does decide to act. They launch a rocket mission to deflect the comet. Great. Problem solved. Except, and this is where our main villain enters the picture, but we'll get to him in a minute. The mission gets called back mid-flight. Just recalled, turned around, because a tech billionaire convinced the president there was a more profitable option. The comet, for the record, does not care about any of this. The film splits the country into two camps. Don't Look Up, the people who deny the comet is a threat, and Just Look Up, the people screaming at the sky, trying to get anyone to pay attention. And in the end, the comet hits. Earth is destroyed. Every single person dies. The last scene is a small group, Randall, his family, Kate, a few others, sitting around a dinner table, sharing a meal, talking softly, just being human. And then, in an instant, it's gone. Roll credits. And you just sit there going, huh. Because here's the thing. It's a comedy. It's funny. There are legitimately hilarious moments throughout. But it earns its tragedy because you realize somewhere in the second act that the comet was never really the point. The comet is a stand-in for climate change, for COVID, for any number of crises where we had the information, we had the warning, and we chose not to move the vending machine. I'm sure it'll figure itself out. Okay, so let's talk about Peter Isherwell, played by Mark Rylance, in what I genuinely believe is one of the most quietly terrifying performances in recent memory. Because here's the thing about Peter Isherwell. He's not the kind of villain who monologues. He's not loud. He doesn't wear a black coat or tap his fingertips together in a dark room. He is, in fact, deeply soft-spoken. He moves slowly. He smiles a lot. He seems nice. And that is exactly the point. That is the whole horror of the character. Peter Isherwell is the big boss of Bash, a tech company that loves cell phones. Just loves them. He's the richest man in the world. He has a phone that predicts how you're going to die. He finishes people's sentences. Not because he's intuitive, because he has data on them. On everyone. He meets Randall and tells him that he will die alone. He tells the President of the United States that he knows exactly when she will die. And everyone just accepts this. They laugh it off. Nobody in the room goes, hey, maybe this guy having access to mortality predictions for the entire human species is a problem. No. They take his phone. They sign his terms of service. They smile. This is Mark Rylance's genius in the role he plays, Isherwell, as someone who has been so thoroughly insulated from consequence that he has developed an entirely alien relationship with reality. He doesn't lie, exactly. He just operates in a framework where human life is a variable in an equation, and he genuinely cannot see why that would bother anyone. He likes people. In the abstract. He just doesn't need them. When the comet is discovered, Isherwell runs his algorithms and finds something extraordinary. The comet contains rare earth minerals worth approximately $140 trillion. Platinum, lithium, Everything you need to build more phones, more satellites, more of whatever it is Bash sells. So he goes to the president, who, let's be very clear, is not a difficult sell, and he pitches a new plan. Instead of deflecting the comet, we mine it. We let it get close. We break it into smaller pieces with precision drone tech. We guide those pieces into the ocean, and we harvest the minerals. Simple. Has this technology been tested? Not at scale, no. Has it been peer-reviewed? The peers are not invited to this conversation. What's the margin of error? We're very confident, and the government buys it, because it has the one thing the deflect the comet plan didn't have: a financial upside. This is the scene that should make every single person watching deeply uncomfortable, because it's not a cartoon, it's not exaggerated. You can find press releases from real companies that sound exactly like Isherwell's pitch. The language of optimism weaponized as a substitute for evidence. The confidence that isn't backed by data, it is the data as far as these people are concerned. The mission fails, by the way. The drones malfunction. The comet fragments instead of breaking cleanly. It's worse. It's a lot worse. And when it becomes clear that this is going to happen, that the gamble didn't pay off, what does Isherwell do? He gets on a spaceship. He and a few hundred of the world's wealthiest, most powerful people quietly board a spacecraft that has been prepared for exactly this contingency: cryosleep. They're going to find a new planet. They've already mapped one. They've been planning this for years, just for them, not for anyone else. For them, the movie handles this almost as a throwaway. It's not a dramatic revelation. There's no villain speech. Isherwell just leaves, with the president, with the generals, with the senators. The people who were managing the crisis get on the lifeboat they built for themselves and go. And here's what makes Isherwell genuinely frightening as a character, as a concept. He's not evil in the way we like to imagine evil. He doesn't want people to die. He's not twirling a mustache. He's just operating according to a value system where his survival, his profit, and his vision for the future are the only inputs that actually register. Everyone else is background noise. Well-meaning background noise, sure, but noise. And the most chilling moment, the moment I keep coming back to, is that even at the end, even when the ship lands on the new planet 22,740 years later, and everyone stumbles out into alien sunlight, blinking and confused, Isherwell is fine. He's already adapting, already optimizing. The last thing we see on that planet is a native creature, something like a bird, something beautiful and strange. And one of the newly arrived survivors reaches out toward it. The creature bites off his arm, and the movie cuts to black, because the universe doesn't care about Isherwell's plan either. It never did. Here's my honest take on Don't Look Up, and why I think it genuinely matters beyond the jokes. The movie isn't really about comets. It's about the gap between information and action. And it's about the very specific type of person who profits from that gap. Peter Isherwell is not a once-in-a-generation monster. He's an archetype. He's what happens when intelligence, wealth, and ambition develop without the counterweight of genuine accountability. When every system around you, the government, the media, the public, is structured in a way that rewards your confidence and never seriously challenges your assumptions. The scary part isn't that someone like Isherwell could exist. The scary part is that the systems we built, the ones that are supposed to protect us from someone like Isherwell, are the exact same systems he's integrated himself into. He is the system at that point. And the scientists, Randall, Kate, the people with actual information, they're on the outside, invited in only when it's useful, dismissed when it's inconvenient. The comet hits, and somewhere on a spacecraft 22,740 years from Earth, a very calm, very confident man is already making new plans. Don't look up, guys. Apparently it's much more comfortable that way. Anyway, that was Don't Look Up. If this video made you feel something vaguely existential on a Tuesday, that was the whole point. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.